Hi, everybody, and welcome to this morning's episode of In Loving Color. We are going to talk today about the 23rd Psalm. I think it is a honored portion of Scripture because it can speak to anybody, and we're all looking for comfort, especially in these times, and it is available. So let's get started. Here is our coloring page today, and it is, you can see, it is the first three verses of the 23rd Psalm. And it is one of my favorite. And of course, if you have been in any kind of Sunday school or church growing up, this was probably one of the first things that you memorized. And I know it was mine. And it's something that I return to again and again in my life. So we're going to get started. So as always, I'm going to flip the camera around. There it is. All right. Oh, I had this so well. I don't know what happened to the thing. Here we go. Oh, goodness gracious. Let's see. All right, we're going to have to do... Now, let me, as always, refresh my page. Get my glasses on. Oh, Rick Clay's, he is one of my all-time favorites. All right. Thank you for the beautiful comments. I appreciate that. Hi, Kelly, Marco, and Wasim. Thank you so much. We are going to get started. I love doing this. I can't tell you how much I look forward to being with you all here. It is one of my favorite things. All right. So Claudia, oh, my soul sister of the heart, absolutely. All right, today, let me show you what I'm planning on doing. You know, the Lord is my shepherd, and we talk about the quiet waters. So today, I just found a couple of errant colors I don't want. I am doing cool tones. So we're going to be limiting ourselves a little bit. We did the warm tones of the 70s. On Saturday, and today we're doing cool tones to denote the still quiet waters of the soul. I really wish this would get a little bit more even. Here we go. All right. Paula, hi dear. Oh, I love you all so much. I love my women friends. I remember there was a time in my life where I related much more to men than women, and then God took care of that for me by bringing wonderful, wonderful women into my life. Now I'm very happy to be a woman and to have female friends as well as male friends. God has been very good to me in the friend department, and I hope that's the same for you. Oh, hi, Marco. Turned off Fox News to watch me. I take that as a very high compliment. Thank you so much. All right, so we're going to get started. I want to show you something that you can do that I think makes a big difference. And that is do a little, we're going to start up here. Now, of course, these are bigger chunks of material to color than in a lot of the things I've done so far. I did this on purpose because a lot of people have said to me, you know, all those little lines are really hard for my mother to color or, you know, my child. And, you know, this is something that you can do together. So, but there are ways to amp up the skill level for yourself if this just seems a little too, I'm going to get this done in 5 minutes. This is not really what I had in mind. This is going to be sort of the outlining thing is really helpful in making it a little more difficult and a little more intricate, I guess I should say. So I'm going to start here. Move these away a little bit. And I'm just going to go around the border with this pretty shade of, I guess this is kind of an orchid shade, isn't it? Almost bordering on periwinkle. The purples can get very, you can have a lot of different kinds of shades depending how much red is in them and how much blue. Oh, Rhonda, oh good. I hope you have a good errands day. It's always good to get all that stuff done. And I'm glad you'll hop back on and join in the fun. I think it's neat how you can still comment even when it is not live. That's fun. Way to go, Facebook. So there we have a little bit of an outline. And now, let's see. Here's a blue, and I've got my trusty sheet underneath. Good, that's a nice light color. Now I'm just going to nowadays, you know, we tend to think everything has to look kind of like a computer did it. But that's just not true. You can have more of a rustic hand-done look, and I think that's just gorgeous. So that's what I'm going to go with here. Now, I ran this off on my copy machine, so the ink may bleed just a little, but that will not happen when Colors of Hope comes out, and that is in your hands, and that's what this is from. So the Lord is my shepherd. I have been thinking about that recently quite a bit, and I take great comfort in not having to rely completely on my own direction, but knowing that at any time I can quiet myself and ask for a little help. Let's see. So Kelly, how are things in Texas today? So you can see we have this little, it's more of a textured effect. I mean, really, when you want, you can do it as deeply monotone as you want. It does not have to be like this. Now, what I want to show you as well in these bigger sections is that you can create your own pattern if you would like. So what I'm going to do is going to take a nice blue here, and I'm going to just do some lines here. Of course, you don't have to do this if you don't want to. Just showing you the options with these more simple drawings that you can do to ramp up the level of, I hate to say difficulty, because I'm not really showing you anything that anybody can't do. You know, I have faith in you all, have faith in yourself. I'm going to go back with that pretty blue. And then I'm just going to fill in between. So sometimes what you can do is pick a color that carries things throughout. And in this case, I'm going to do this blue. This is going to be the color that is the overarching theme color, I guess you could say. It's a nice calming blue. I know there's a whole host of psychological theory around color, and blue is a good color for your bedroom. So the Lord is my shepherd. You know, the sheep don't worry too much, do they? They know somebody's protecting them. They know somebody's leading them to the places where they can eat and sleep, get a nice cold drink. And yet they have such a good purpose, don't they? Their wool keeps people warm. Animals just don't question their jobs here on Earth. All right, now we're going to do a little bit of an opposite thing, I think. Or let's go with some purples. Oh, I haven't read that, Paula. What is it? A shepherd looks at Psalm 23. Oh, that's neat. So a shepherd can... I have. You know what? I have. I've read portions of that now that you come to mention it. And it just says all sorts of things like what that really means, that of how the shepherd cares for the sheep and all that. Is that the one? So in this little section here, I'm going to do polka dots because I love polka dots. Now, I don't know the original place where polka dots come from, because obviously it's something with the dance, right? Oh, I'd love to learn how to do those kind of dances. Wouldn't it be fun to just start in on a polka? If any of you can do that, you should put up a video of yourself, because that would be cool to see. So the Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. That is a hard thing to believe sometimes, isn't it? I have a famous saying now that if you've been around me in person for much of any period of time, I will all of a sudden pipe up, "This is a wonderful present moment, isn't it?" To lack nothing is to understand where you are in the present moment. At least for me, that is very, very true. And so I tend to just stop and think when my mind starts besetting me. And you know what? This whole psalm to me is about peace and how to live in peace, because you live in the care, knowingly in the care of God. And so a lot of times I will just say, this is a good present moment, isn't it? And I'll tell you what, normally it is. Normally we live in our minds and we feel that things are so terrible because we're living in the future, when we would just step back and say, right now, right here, at the very least, I can live with this because I am. And I've been through struggles and trials and heartache. So I know that there are times when you feel like that shouldn't be possible, or you're the exception to the rule. Just try it and see what you truly lack in that moment. For me, it's usually not really anything. Now, of course, we do have those moments where we are in intense pain. But if we can understand, we won't always be there. That's good. That's something to hold on to. Oh, thanks, Patty. Thank you for saying that. I was hoping that would be the case, that just watching would be therapeutic. Because I know not everybody's going to be able to join in. So look how cute this is coming along. I love this, the little dots and stripes. And now we've got another section to do, and I'm not quite sure what I want to do. So what would go, oh, I know what we're going to do. All right, so now let's see, we'll go back to blue, and I'm going to use our theme blue. Just going to kind of wing it coming down here. I'm not under any delusion this is going to be in a gallery somewhere. So just have fun with it. Do you remember, and I mean, some people are still really into it. I never got into it, and I don't know why, because it's so beautiful, but the Zentangle thing, if you do Zentangles, this is the time to come up with the fills that everybody does there. Those are so beautiful. You can do that there. So in the present moment, think about where you are, and if you lack, what do you lack? Do you really lack anything right now? Like right now, I'm sitting here. I am so enjoying knowing that people are here with me through the internet and in spirit. And I've got this beautiful cup of tea that is a coconut, black tea. And I'm coloring. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. I see people's names come up that I know in real life that I love, and that I have met on the internet that I love. So it's wonderful. Okay, so my present moment right now is beautiful, and I just ask you, what about yours? Where are you right now? What are you doing? And is it a beautiful moment for you? And if it's not beautiful, is it at least something that you can be grateful for? Are your needs met? Are you sitting in a home with heat? Sometimes it comes down to that rudimentary, basic care. And I have had those days where I laid down in bed to do my thankful exercise. And honestly, it was very hard to come up with anything that wasn't, things like my children, which I'm always thankful for them. And those basic things that you always have with you. But then other days, it's like recalling a party, isn't it? But when you can think of paying your electric bill as a cause for rejoicing, then suddenly those mundane things become way more of a blessing and a thing to rejoice over. He makes me lie down in green pastures. Well, that's a lovely thought, isn't it? Is it time for the offering? If you want, hey, sure, send me a PayPal. Just kidding, I don't care. Well, I hope I don't sound preachy, Marco. Well, that's not what I'm trying to do. Oh, yes, that's beautiful. Kelly enjoying a vegan superfruit muffin with your fat cat. All is well. I love that. My cat is 15 now, or almost 15. And he's not a stink. He used to be a real stinker, but he just doesn't have many people around to be a stinker too anymore, since it's just McLeod and I that live here, and the dog, which he's real not fond of the dog, let me tell you. But they're learning to kind of stay out of each other's way a little bit. All right, now we're going to go with another section. I'm not sure what I'm going to do on these interiors of the letter, but we'll see when we get to that. All right, now let's do some of these kind of lines. Little diagonal stuff. Diagonally. I love that from Harry Potter. Do we have any Harry Potter fans here today? Oh, good, Marco. Thank you. I was like, oh, man, because you know me. You know me, Marco. I'm the last person that wants to preach at people. Marco runs Enktesis, Enktesis, and he is doing my website, which will be live this week. And Marco has been a friend for many, many years, and I'm really, really delighted that he's doing this for me. So I encourage you to hop on over to his website, which is enktesis.com, and maybe he can help you out. And I do not mind shamelessly plugging people that are doing a good job in this world. Now we've got that blue again. So leading me in green pastures, that is, makes me lie down. It's like rest and refreshment, isn't it? You know, our sustenance. I think that when I learned that I didn't have to try so hard to make God love me, like, I know that sounds ridiculous, doesn't it, to make God love me, but I don't know, I just had that kind of mentality. It was, I'm not going to blame anybody for any way I think, or we are all conditioned, and that's just the way it is. Everybody's doing their best. Everybody tried their best with what they knew. But somehow I picked up the message, whether that was clearly given or not, that I had to really try to make God love me, or to keep the love of God. And, you know, it's just not the way it is. We lie down in green pastures, and He feeds us. And He leads us beside quiet waters. I'm going to just continue this. I think that's going to look best. I read something once that, you know, the leading is from the Holy Spirit if everybody benefits. And that's so counterintuitive to what we're taught, to how we feel about stuff today, that there has to be sacrifice on somebody's part. And I'm not going to get into politics because that is not my job in this world at this point in time. But if we want to know what the Spirit wants, that means everybody is going to be loved. But it takes a lot of faith to believe that. And it takes almost too much faith in ourselves to believe that we can come up with that solution, right? I believe that God is so magnificent and big and has so many resources at His hand that we can do that. I was singing in the car to myself just yesterday, He owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. Do you remember that old hymn, The Wealth of Every Mine? He owns the rivers and the rocks and rills, the sun and stars that shine. Wonderful riches more than tongue can tell. He is my Father, so they're mine as well. How much of our beliefs come from believing that God does not have enough to offer to all? And that's just fear speaking. I mean, it's just fear and no condemnation. We're all there to some extent, aren't we? But we really don't have to be. Oh, you all. All right, so I really like the way this is turning out. And here, I think I'm just going to do a little bigger dots. He refreshes my soul. We're almost done with this big soul here. You can have faith that your Heavenly Father will provide for you. And dare to dream big in what He will provide for you. You don't have to... I used to call myself God's scullery maid. Remember that, Claudia? I don't know if you're still there. And you know what? It's kind of the way things worked out for me at that point by saying that. And then I realized that I'm God's child. And that's a completely different set of circumstances, isn't it? And as a child of God, I want to be about my Father's business. So I work hand in hand. And I don't come at that from a place of pride, but at a place of utter, sincere, and just overwhelming gratitude. So He refreshes my soul, and I can do the work that we do together because my soul is refreshed. Claudia, I love you so much. Claudia and I have been through so much together in life, and we just love each other more and more each year. She remembers my scullery maid days. Sing it. No, those days are gone. Okay, so here is something that's really funny. I always wanted to be, like, if I could, there are several things. If I had no constraints or anything upon me, I would love to do. Okay, one of them would be a doctor. I think being a doctor would be the coolest thing. And I would like to be a surgeon. I think that would be awesome. I can't do math. And I guess I could have tried really hard, but you know what? I'm an artist. I'm this type of person, which I love to be, and I hate to when people, what's the word I'm looking for? Put themselves in a box, but this is a box I like being in, so be it. And here we're gonna do some more. I really like the polka dot thing going on here, but I always thought it would be so cool to be a backup singer. Like, that would be... I didn't want to be the person in the middle of the stage. I wanted to be behind doing the things, you know? Just going in the microphone and singing, and you can still do your hair and do your clothes and go into the studio. I mean, I just think that would be the funnest thing ever. So that's one of my if you could do, but I don't really have the voice for that, so... And you know how I know this? Like, I feel like I'm just a great singer. But every time I'm with somebody and we're in the car and I just get the happies and start to sing, they turn up the volume. They turn on the radio. Like, they turn on the radio. So I'm thinking, well, you know, I guess that is not, that's not my calling. So, you have to heed the messages where they come from, right? But right now, I love what I'm doing. I'm working on a novel. And counting my coloring books, I realized last night this is my 40th book. Which, wow, 40. Praise the Lord and pass the laptop. Oh, look, Jean Wynn. Hi, Jean. Jean has been a friend for so long. I love her. He refreshes my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness. What does that mean to you? I used to think that meant a lot of rules and regulations. And lately, I don't know if that's what righteousness means at all. Because those rules, I don't know. I don't know about you, but I see people putting them beside the wayside, on the wayside all the time, at the sense of expediency. And I know I do too. So what are at the heart of those rules? What is righteousness? And for me, it has come down to love. Paths of righteousness are paths of love. And I think it's not just us having love for others, but the paths of righteousness are when we don't know where to turn or what to do at some intersection of our life. Something comes into our life that is the way of love. And I think if we expect God to show us those ways of love, that love not just coming through us, but coming to us and being lights that guide us, the light of love guiding us. So we go where the love is. We go where we receive love, where love is happening. That's the path of righteousness to me. I don't believe in tough love, y'all. I've never seen a situation where there weren't a great deal of tears and apologies afterwards when tough love was meted out. And I know that because I've done it. I think we comfort ourselves because we want to judge situations so that we can take our hands off of them. And we can take our hands off, but we can do it through love, knowing that at the end of the day, everybody has to make their own decision. But not because we're being tough about it. It's because we are letting people have their own free will. But they know we're always there for them. It's a fine line. I'm going to do a little pink because I think having just a touch of contrast here would be nice. I hear, I don't know if you see on the internet a lot people talking about, well, other people say, well, don't judge, and then other people say, well, we have to judge because, people will continue to be in their ways. And I've never heard anybody say, well, we have to judge because I know I need to be judged. It's always in the sense of them wanting to judge other people. I just think that's a curious observation. For me, that just makes me feel like I'm not God, so I'm just going to help. I'm not going to judge. I'm going to help. And that's that. And yes, I pray for our president. So I'll get a little controversial. I do pray for him. Sometimes I just sit in my chair and I just let everybody that comes to mind come, and I just send love out to them. I love you too, Jean. And maybe that's part of the path of righteousness, is to just sit and be and send out love to whoever you can think of. Even the people that think you're goofy, that have a hard time with you, those are especially important people to send love to. People that misunderstand you, send them love. Keep to the path of righteousness, send love. People that just flat out don't like you and think you're horrible, send love. Because someday, this will be in the past, kind of already is in the eyes of God, who knows no time, and all will be right. So you can live in that moment right now with everybody in your heart, even if they're not with you there in actuality. You are not bound by time in how you love others. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. It's not the valley of death. I just want to point that out. It's the valley of the shadow of death. Maybe you have been in a situation where you thought you were going to die, but you felt the supernatural peace that God was with you. I don't know if any of you out there have had near-death experiences. I have not. And we know, I think anyway, not everybody knows this, that our soul never dies and will be in full remembrance of its home with the Father. I think we can get to that point right now, if that is our longing, because the scriptures are clear that the Bible, that says that God will give us the desires of our heart. And if our desire of our heart is that our soul finds its home while we are here living on earth, I believe that is a prayer that will be answered. That is a prayer I have made myself. So for me, death is an illusion. Having lost my parents and my brother, I live in confidence that they are with God and that they're not dead at all. So it's the shadow of death. I will fear no evil, because why should we? We are with the shepherd. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff comfort me. It's just so hard to remember that sometimes. Do you feel like a lot of this is just a state of remembering what the truth really is? I know I do. So it's not so much getting to the point, it's remembering where you really are. And that's a completely different thing. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup runs over. Once again, God providing for us graciously in all circumstances. Even if we feel like we are in the presence of, people that don't have our best interest at heart. We are still protected. We're still cared for and loved. Of course, Jesus said, love your enemies. And when you find that you do that, you find you don't have any. Not in the real sense. Not in the soul sense. All right, now what I'm going to do here, since we are, let me get another pen. Oh, hang on. Since we are filling things in where they're not, I'm going to take a black pen, and you can see this. This is kind of a nifty little thing. It's got one of those brushy tips. Oh, there we go. I wasn't on screen. We got a brushy tip, and then on the other end, there's a finer tip. And now I'm going to go in, and I'm just going to do some outlining. Surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life. Surely, 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 surely. And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. If we are living in the kingdom, as Jesus said, we can claim that house right now. Again, once I got over my addiction to time, my spiritual walk became something completely different. And my eyes were opened to seeing these things in the here and now. Oh, good, Michelle. I'm so glad. I pray, that my words will fall on ears that would be blessed by them and would just receive some comfort. Oh, this is kind of funky. All right. This one's a little bit of a shorter one, folks, because we are almost down to the end here. So, how will you refresh your soul today? How will you allow God to refresh your soul today? The cares of life can really beset us in this area of being calm and, at peace in our surroundings. And I like to take worry-free days where it's like, okay, my rent's paid, my kids are all doing well, all these things that Actually, I don't worry about my kids too much because they are great and they're doing really well. But so it's like, what are these things that I worry about? And I think, all right, you know what? For today, I don't need to worry about any of it. And sometimes, I'll just take a week and do that. And oh my goodness, it is amazing the things that God says to me. When I take a worry-free break, life still happens. Everything is, I take care of things. I just don't do it with a sense of worry. And it's amazing when I remove that from my consciousness and just give myself a break from the cares and let God be the shepherd. My whole outlook changes, and I hear from God in ways that I don't when I have consumed my brain with worry. So why don't you take today, go about your business, do what you need to do, but the things that you worry about in the future or the whatever it is in your past that you can't stop going over and over in your head with, just don't do it for today. You really can do that. If I can do that, anybody can. So why not give that a try and just let yourself sit beside the still waters and the green pastures. All right, folks. I'm just waiting for, there's quite a lag time here on the camera today. And what's going, my internet feed is on my camera, and there we go. Okay, we've got it. All right, I'm going to, there we go. All right, so let's flip this around. I'm always a little sorry about these transitions. I was actually a television major, and I know that this is probably not the most whatever way to do this. So here we go. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that there were some words of comfort for you, and I really do hope you'll give it a try and take the rest of the day to be a worry-free day and just think about how well you're taken care of. Live in the moment, and think about just that right now God is loving you and He's taking care of you, and that things are really going to be okay. I know some of you are dealing with some really terrifically hard things, but just know there are people out here that love you and are praying for you, and we care deeply for you. So remember, I have this tagline that I'm going to start using that Ravel has put on my promotional materials. You were made to create, and you were made to create through love and goodness and kindness. So love, joy, peace, and all good things to you. Bye-bye.